Okay, welcome back everybody. It's one of those mornings and all through the week I've been thinking of this particular song title. We all know the song, The Beat Goes On, and also The Rhythm of Life. Now this brought up a lot of memories, that beat thing, because when you start off learning an instrument, sometimes you go a little bit too quick or too slow. Like the scale, you might go dum, 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 or might be too quick. Now, how do you help gain the rhythm, keep the rhythm? Now, I don't want anyone to get too dramatic when they see this. This is a metronome, a medieval torture device used for those who learn music. They're digital now, but this is the one I've had since I started music. Now, it goes quick, as you can see. Oh, if I wind it up, I suppose it would. It's been so long. And then it can go slow. I have to say, it's very handy. And it's one of those things that sits on my piano, and sometimes I use it because you get different tempos like largo, cantabile, and all these things. And you know, if you go to the metronome, what that tempo basically is. Now, we know the Sonny and Cher song, The Beat Goes On, just as our rhythm of life goes on and on and on. And at different stages of our life, it's at a different pace. I've been quoting this Ecclesiastes 3:1 for a long time now. For everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. And there are cycles of our life, cycles of the season. The tides come in and go out. Day follows night. And I don't know whether it's just because Facebook has made it all the more obvious to us, but I was brought up right by the sea. The sea was just over there. And sometimes the ocean was so restless, it would put the spray over the railway line, and sometimes it used to reach the road. And I used to sit up in that top room looking out over the sea and thinking, what if the tide didn't stop? And now I've noticed there's been a few tsunamis in the world, and I can see how they operate. So I think I got off lightly when I was younger in the northwest coast. They're quite strange things to see. The tidal law and order disrupted. But was it? It was just a readjustment somewhere else along the line. Had nothing personal against us. But everything has its rhythm, and in music we hear the term music of the spheres, or harmony of the spheres. Now this is a philosophical concept that regards the proportions in the universe as celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, and the planets as a form of music. They are, it's a vibration. And all is a great intelligent rhythm, this divine universal rhythm, our creator. If it wasn't so, our cosmos would be chaos. So to give this intelligent cosmic rhythm a name would be to limit it in our minds or to our preconceived concepts of it. I've said this before too. Different cultures have had their own names for this infinite intelligence. The Hopi Indians speak of Spider Grandmother, who spun a web connecting all things. To the ancient Chinese, it was called the Tao, or the flow of the universe. To the Hindu, the Rig Veda speaks about the absolute called Brahman. Others, the way. The ultimate personification to me is from the ancient Bhagavad Gita. I am the father, the mother, and the supporter, and the grand sire of the universe. I like that personification. So we are here to eventually unfold into dancing or living in time with this beat. We all remember that song we play occasionally, Life is a Dance. We are a work in progress, and we are responsible for how we dance to this tune. And how we dance to it shows up in our lives with the blessings and challenges that we demonstrate as we go through, expanding our consciousness. Now, this is not a new revelation. The earliest literary work known to us in the history of mankind, they say, is the Egyptian Hymn of the Sun, an ode to the sun, which begins, and I'll read it as it is. Thou great source of life, which each day and every year has renewed each of us, animals, plants and humans, we await thy return from winter. What would happen if one day thou should not return? Everything would become dead. The earth would die, plants and animals would die, and we ourselves would wait for death. Our body is the victim of the shades of night, for it is thy rays which sustain our life and everything which lives upon earth. End of quote. Now, since this first hymn of the sun, we have had a long series of different hymns and books of ancient philosophies and religions which to a large extent are concerned with the rebirth of the sun at the end of the year. One which has been close to me and a few of us is the Canticle of the Sun by St. Francis, who I mentioned earlier. And one we like to sing from our Wings of Song hymn book. We now call it a song book. It is number 27. I remember. And that is number 27, Joyful, joyful, we adore thee. And here again, the sun. That was the symbol used at the miracle of Fatima on October the 13th, 1917. The sun appeared to change colour and come closer to Earth and back. We know it was a miracle, or so they say, because it was predicted. It wouldn't have been the real sun, but it was the illusion and the message got through. Symbology plays a great part in helping us have reverence for the infinite intelligence in whom we live, move and be and have our being. The sun is a powerful symbol for the sun behind the sun. Charles Fillmore writes in the Revealing Word about symbology. He says, symbols represent steps in the masonry of the soul. All scriptural symbols have to do with the spiritual progress of humankind. And in the Bible, every name stands for an idea and has a meaning that gives us a clue to the symbol. A symbol loses its usefulness when humankind clings to it as reality and fails to see the truth that it represents, the truth behind the symbol. And we are going to learn more about symbols as Easter progresses. Probably Easter Sunday, we'll get to find the metaphysical meanings of the words like wine, the cup, bread, all those things that are used in communion. They all have a special metaphysical meaning for those who can accept it and help us along the way to further understanding the scriptures. So, over millenniums of time, the sun would be revered. As long as we beat in time with its never-changing beat, we experience good in our lives. It is our good fortune to have access to these secret teachings of the ages which help us to tune in to the right beat. These teachings, this ancient wisdom, has always been there. And in our Unity New Thought approach to these teachings, we find that we can be at the right time and at the right place for the next step in our spiritual unfoldment. Not in some afterlife, but here and now. And what is revealed in some of these so-called secret teachings? Well, there's a trinity to start. Oneness, an emphasis on the human mind and its connection to the infinite mind. Number 2, flow, a recognition of the fluid or energetic way which our mind serves as a conduit between the spiritual and physical worlds. And number 3, manifestation, a focus on joy and healing in our life through a correspondence between the human consciousness and the external phenomena, instead of an abstract focus on a salvation in an afterlife. Another trinity, we are spirit, our perfect real self, which is part of God, our great I am presence, our soul or consciousness. It is everything that goes on in our mind. It's our thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, and everything that we think we attract into our lives, and it's in our consciousness somewhere. And our body, our vehicle we use for expression in this physical world. God created us in its image, potentially perfect, and then set us the task of the opportunity, a great opportunity if we take it, to prove it. One of the basic unity principles sums it up. Knowing and understanding the laws of life are not enough. A person must also live the truth that they may know. So we are living souls and we have a physical body. And like the rhythm of the seasons, all under cosmic law, our body changes also. The beat goes on, but at a different pace. The self that is observing these changes in and around us does not die. This constantly seeks greater expression and expansion. Yet each new expression works changes in our outer form. A new dance. The beat goes on, all in line with changeless, universal cosmic harmony and rhythm. So to sum up, the beat of life, what is it? It is the cosmic vibration, the unchangeable law and order of creation. If we know about it, what can it do for us? It can set us free from much we would otherwise learn by trial and error. And it can reveal the way ahead for us, the right direction we need to go for our next learning experience. We know from our lessons in the past here that we are to grow from Adam's state of consciousness into the full-blown flower of Christ consciousness as represented by Jesus, who became the Christ. However, we have lessons to learn, regardless of where we are on the spiritual path. And as the song goes, I think Beverly might have sung it for us once. Into each life, some rain will fall. I think it was the Ink Spots. How do we learn to flow with the beat? Observation. We can learn from the Weishaus of the past, whose teachings have been brought down to us through many religions of the world. Or it's never been easy to expose to the teachings as now. I've found wisdom in the books from different places. From the airport's a good one, when I used to go travelling a lot. There'd always be a new book out, you know, The Power of Now or the 5 a.m. Club. And I look at some of the titles that are out now, they're getting a little bit more cheeky. And some of them, I looked into the shop at Forest Hill there, the bookshop, and I thought, my goodness, everyone's getting in on the act. And I thought, well, good. Because it's presenting, there's a universal teaching in all of it. And some there with those strange titles hit the spot. And of course, we've got the internet. You can Google anything you like at any time in the world. However, it won't resonate with us until we're ready. Is there a price to pay for this wisdom? Yes, indeed. We have to be willing, once we're concerned of the teachings, that they're okay, we have to put them into practice and see them demonstrated in our lives. And continue with them and the ups and downs, the blessings and the challenges which will always occur here while we're on this mystery school of life. And finally, to conclude, here is what we learn from the teachings of Buddha. Nothing is lost in the universe. Everything is continually changing. And all these changes are following the law of cause and effect, the cosmic law of infinity. I mentioned earlier the Egyptian hymn to the sun and St. Francis' Canticle of the Sun. And as we know, we often sang together a wonderful song, which is number 27 in our Unity Songbook. And the tune is written by a composer who said music can take us higher than words. Let us use his music and the words of another philosopher that go with it to conclude this talk. Thank you. Over to you, Raj.